Hey, good morning, YouTube. What's going on? Welcome to Monday. I'm just going to start calling this slow moving Mondays. Yo, just can't get going. But welcome. Thanks for checking in. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Made it back here unscathed. At least nothing permanent. There's our weather. We got some good snow around here yesterday. Pushing through. Look, there's still some over the mountains. Snow up and down the Rockies. More big swath of rain coming through Illinois there over some of y'all. All the way down Missouri. Check in and see we got here. Tommy Boy 9's with us. Good morning. Absolutely nothing happening. No decent class, no arrests. Stock market is up. Everything good. Wait, wouldn't that mean everything's bad if there's no arrests, et cetera, et cetera? Yeah, stock market looked flat from the pre-market. Bonds are still way down, which is the big tell. Hey, Dad on YouTube's here. Good morning. In the zone, right? Kildare Survival. Good morning. How are you? Oh, Westwind Survival's up with us this morning, or I should say he's not out and about already. Dad got a bow? I must have missed the video. Kildare didn't catch no fish. Oh, that's right. You went fishing. That's right. Hey, that's better than a good day doing anything else. Nothing wrong with not catching anything. Probably call it fishing. I think West said that about that. He's like, they don't call it catching. They call it fishing. If you caught anything, it'd be called catching. It's all good though. Yeah, some pretty pretty active weather going on out there. Keeping people on their toes. I was in the big city, like I showed in that live stream yesterday, and people forgot how to drive. Or correction, everybody from California forgot how to drive. Coming back on the highway, and I wish I had gotten the phone out, because there's a section on the highway where it says last chance to put on chains for a chain control for a chain area. And about a mile down the road, there was a string of it had to be at least 12, 15 cars lined up on the side of the road, all from California. Putting on chains, stopping, everything else. It was pretty special. We're like, that's what we talk about when we say, don't come over here. It was pretty funny. Except a couple people had to bite the guardrail before they figured out they needed to do that. Car parts strewn on the side of the road, etc. But other than that, it was fine. Third Option's with us. Good morning. Free lunch. Man, we think we are some kind of communist organization right here or something? There's no free lunches. All right, Dad. Yeah, that would have been a perfect. That's a perfect segue. People don't act until it's too late and in their face. Yeah, all the signs are there warning you. Hey, put your chains on now. Yeah, and they just keep putting along. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. Oh wait, there's a small SUV spun around in the middle of the road with the bumper off of it. Maybe I should pull over and put my chains on. But literally, I laughed so hard. It's like, what are all these cars doing pulled over? And I started looking at California tag, California tag, California tag. It was hilarious. I couldn't believe. I mean, I was glad it wasn't locals, but surprised there was that many. And then I was trying to figure out what they were doing on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know if they were going back to Southern California or if they had all just recently moved and were that unawares, it was unnerving in that respect. Like, that's way too many Californians to have moving up here at one shot that are that stupid. We're just going to have to start putting up warning signs on the state border. Stay away or else. Yeah, pay my fair share, huh, Third? Right? You look like you're about ready to get some rain there, Third. You ready for that? Might get a little dose of rain, it looks like today. Think our snow is going to clear out of the area, though. So that's enough of the weather situation. A Tommy Boy stock market. I wouldn't call that up. 25 points is pretty much nothing, Tommy Boy. We'll see what happens when it open at the open here. But I did see that bonds were just stuck down there at the bottom. And oil prices have bounced up quite a bit. Over $1 today. They were down at what, 45 last week, so they might be back on the upward swing. Gold up just a little bit with silver. Maybe hold off on buying anything today, Tommy Boy. You know, is what it is. But I was just checking in on that government shutdown yesterday, and I just wanted to make sure, but there's no breakthrough, so we're staying shut down. The president said yesterday he was ready to shut it down for years, and everybody got all wide-eyed, excited, I think. Like, whoa, seriously? We're going to spend money with no voting for a couple years? Maybe the government would actually work as intended instead of as it's been manipulated. Hard to tell. But no agreement moving forward, it doesn't look like. Hey, Midwest Preppers with us. Good morning. You had no idea it was going to rain there? No idea, huh? Wes S is with us. We all going to die. Oh, we can do that and hear that chat too. Rooster's here with us. You're going to move to Idaho? It looks like it's raining over there a little bit, Rooster. We got some pretty good snow. DA Prepper. DA Prepper. I don't think I know who that is. Virginia Prepper. I don't know that channel. Okay. It was on XO yesterday and saying commodities were going to do well. We shall see. Yeah, Midwest guarantees it won't go for another week or so. I think that's Dad's bet as well. The food stamp issue is going to drive the train at some point. There's a bunch of posturing going on for sure, though. People want something out of this. And it's probably just like border wall's a pet project. The other stuff's going to be a pet project. Everybody will be happy and go home. We shall see. So they're changing the budget request to a steel barrier, not a concrete wall. For those that weren't in the know, like that doesn't really matter, I don't think. It's still $5 billion on a the Democrats want a full budget on how it would spend the billions requested on the wall. Money the president wants from Congress. Well, if anybody knows anything about government contracts, they're just going to say it's in contractual. It's not. There is no detailed budget. They can tell all they can detail is what they're going to tell the contractor to do, but the contractor comes back with the details on their bid, I guess you'd say, because I think they still have to bid for the contract, don't they? Letter includes a request for $800 million for urgent humanitarian needs. I'll see. They're going to come to an agreement. See, they're working on it. $800 million for the urgent humanitarian needs of the migrants for $5 billion. That's a trade-off that somebody's willing to do. They'll come to an agreement. See, they're working on it. This all you can do is add a little, sweeten the pot a little bit, add a little bit more money. They can always agree on something. But they're going to posture that they're at an impasse until 0 hour, probably. They're hoping for some very serious talks Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And of course, those that are pushing that open up the rest of the government while they negotiate the rest of the stuff. So basically, then it would be there'd be no reason to. I don't know if Trump's that stupid to pass a budget that would reopen everything and then expect the Democrats to come back to the table. How many times has that hoodwink been played? Trump reaffirmed he would consider declaring a national emergency to circumvent Congress and spend money as he saw fit. Yeah, that would be bad. That's the big concern. Lots of people looking at that like way down the road. You talk about being able to declare a national emergency. Who's gonna? That's where you get the real. We'd get the real look behind the power there of who's in charge. Who would? Man, I put people in a lot of big conundrums, following orders and such. But that's the posturing stuff that's going on. And I thought we were already in a state of emergency since 9/11, essentially, right? It seems like, based upon congressional acts passed. Hey, we got Ann checking in on us. How you doing, Ann? Good morning. How are you? What about tax returns, Midwest? I think I missed it. Oh, tax returns have to get put out. Yeah, nobody at the tax office is working. I'm still not sure about that because you still can't prove to me that the IRS are federal employees. I'd have to look at it again, but IRS doesn't act as a federal agency. Although I think their supposed law enforcement branch does work under the Treasury Department. But like you say, we may not find out too much more. If they wrap this up. Yeah, the collection part of taxes is still working just fine, right, Dad? Yeah, it's a good question what the national emergency exactly means. Primarily, he's looking at it as a way to directly fund things without having to go through Congress using current discretionary money or something like that. But there's lots of worries about like you say, the martial law and stuff like that, having a lot of what would you call it? Heavy-handedness. What unforeseen rules can they get around by doing such a thing? That you wouldn't want anybody to have that much power, a little less Trump. Oh, that's over here too. But so that's on the radar. We'll continue to monitor too. We can milk a good 3 weeks out of this still, it looks like. You look at the time, so there'll be plenty of that happening. But swifting on over to the other side of the situation, I just like the title of this article, Circling the Drain, talking about the financial state of everything. It was probably more apropos to what's going on. What? Okay, Dad. Maybe that's too much sharing, maybe? Stepped on a shark's tooth getting coffee. No Legos around there. It is shark teeth, huh? Dad's down, sending the medic. Right? Yeah, that's funny. Iron Witch, good morning. How are you? Trump reminds you of Nixon, huh? I don't remember much of Nixon, but if you say so. West S cannot currently speak his state of mind on the subject of migrants, quote, end quote. Fear that my opinion would have be very negative, taken as hostile. Right? Uh, there's still articles out there almost on the daily, hundreds of Hondurans coming across the border at various points, getting scooped up by ICE, etc. And then there's that talk that there's another quote unquote caravan starting here shortly down there. And you got to figure with the spring coming up, there's going to be more and more just regular of the workers coming up. So that'd be easy to blend in with them and try to get across under the cover of the normal worker flow. But Circling the Drain, I guess this is authored by this fella here, actingman.com. Goes into, I guess, a poem or something. Put into a rhyme, it says, public message by the Fed chieftain. So he took the Fed's words and put them into a rhyme there. But anyway, money from thin air going back whence it came, circling the drain of a no reinvestment black hole strategy, strategically placed in its way by the dollar-sucking vampire of that's, I can't even say it straight, but that's pretty funny. He named Powell like this. He gave Powell a name, vampire sucking bat Pedocrius Lagori Powelli, whoever that is. Outstanding Fed credit as of December 26, 2018. Overall, the numbers appear not yet that dramatic, but the devil is in the details, or rather in the time frames one considers. So this is the credit from the Federal Reserve outstanding in the graph. Large percentages of net credit. Quarter-on-quarter rate of change accelerates noticeably. And this is from April of 18 to December of 18, from 2.4 to 13.13% change. So that's what they're going after. We're starting to accelerate that. As we talked about last week, lack of free money. It's going to be more expensive to loan it out than it is to get it a loan. So this is kind of one of those. It's a good graph digging into articles. If you want to check it out, it's in the description box to get your understanding of the debt crisis that's coming and why, what it looks like. But this also has moving averages, the money supply of real money down here at the bottom. I shouldn't say at the bottom, but in the middle here, the current growth rates are at levels last seen at the onset of the 01 and 08 busts. Fed securities held outright. They've talked about getting rid of their securities. That's where they were expected to be here. And wait, that's projected as of right now, January 19. So the Fed basically has no, what like you'd say, bullets in the chamber. They have no extreme measures they can take to save the markets or banks when there does become a crisis, except for the bank holiday, et cetera, things that really put things in a bigger pinch, and we end up like Europe is where this is headed, because they can't lower interest rates hardly at all because we're already down there. They don't have these equity securities that they hold that they can flood the market with because they don't have any of their holding anymore that they previously held over time. So as Greg Romanorino was explaining last week, the debt liquidity crisis is where it's headed. So lots of graphs in this article, lots of information, technical stuff, but something to break down and look at. But the conclusion at the end, as long as the Fed excess liquidity from the system, money supply growth rates are unlikely to recover. Expect elevated market volatility to persist over the medium term with a downward bias. So that's the conclusion after all that fancy money talk and everything, but something to look into if you wanted to further understand some of the stuff behind the madness, I guess you would say, there on the zero hedge, that all this excess government spending is not helping. Who else we have check in here? Kenneth the fan, Kentucky fam. Good morning. How are you doing? Looks like y'all are a little wet out there from the weather. Wes wants to make nice little black plastic tents. I don't even know what that means. Tommy boy, you're over prepared. Is that possible? Not possible, man. Yeah, you don't get it, Dan. The what happened to the Mexicans paying for it, right? Paying for the wall. Joke's on you, on us in general, right? Anybody else check in with us here? It's not quite market opening time. Iron Witch, did y'all see the convergence of problems? Migrant caravans, yellow vest stocks and dollar value, social unrest, hostile politics, threats of national emergency. That's what we're doing, Iron. We're trying to see it through the trees here. Look at all the trees individually, at least. Maybe we'll see the four. Yeah, it's all there. All the different crises that could all converging, it seems. As we like to say, also speeding up and coming to a head, if you will, does seem to be our end game. Speaking of end game, checking in on our favorite collapse, the Society of Venezuela, or collapsed. It already has happened, and it's where they're going to go now. But this is a Miami Herald article about the starvation in Venezuela. Pretty stark reality reminder how bad things can get. But one key thing here in the second paragraph, the quote from somebody in the that they interviewed: "We eat what people give us. My husband works as a watchman, but his salary is not enough to buy food. We have gone up to 2 days without eating," accompanied by her sons 8, 4, and 1-year-old, as she waited on the slow-moving line. So they're in a food line, it looks like, when they got that quote there. So you're getting a salary, but you can't afford food. So what does the salary go towards? Is that all rent? Like the hyperinflation that has hit there, your priorities: shelter, food, water. Like, where's all that? If all that doesn't buy food, like, where does that all go? And that may have been a little bit of exaggeration on her part, where they don't have enough to buy regularly, and they just have enough to buy a couple times a month or something. But still, it goes without saying, when you prioritize your money, I think the biggest problem Americans are going to get in when this time comes is debt collectors. Debt collection is going to be the issue that is going to wreak havoc, because people's debts are going to come due, and there's not going to be enough money to go around to put on priorities for people, and they're going to end up in the same situation, because the debt collectors will kill you, like the IRS, rather than worry about how you prioritize and survive. And Venezuela's probably learning that hard lesson. But it goes on here: Morales is just one of many Venezuelans who are hungry due to the country's economic crisis, where reports show that more than 1/3 of the people eat only one meal a day. The economic collapse sparked by 2 decades. Nobody's doing any heavy labor on one meal a day, I'll tell you that much. You get the bare minimum out of somebody that's eating one meal a day. There's not a lot of productivity, economic productivity taking place on one meal a day, The economic collapse sparked by 2 decades of socialist Chavista policies has turned the once rich oil-producing country into one of the poorest in the region. Experts say Venezuela's economy has shrunk more than 50% since Maduro became president 6 years ago. That's just the last 6 years, not previous. So as bad as things were 6 years ago, it's 50% less now. Inflation, which hit nearly 1,000,000% in 2018, could soar to 10 million by the end of this year, according to the International Monetary Fund. Trapped in a labyrinth of socialist formulas, the Maduro regime is pushing for measures that increase inflation rather than dampen it. But he has been doing that. We covered some of that back earlier in the year, or last year, where they were increasing minimum wages. Things like that would just raise prices. Yeah, here it says in November, Maduro announced a 150% increase in the minimum salary, the 6th such increase in 2018. So here's an example of the hyperinflation. One of the traditional Christmas dishes of ham bread costs 4,892 bolivars. Bolivares Salboneros. Is that what their name is there? Okay. More than the minimum monthly salary of 4,500 bolivars. So their minimum salary wouldn't even pay for their Christmas dinner. So I guess there's our example of how they're they're not straight up getting paid enough. A little less the problems Americans will have with competing priorities. Volunteers at this church from the, I don't speak Espanol, Fundación La Casa de la Misericordia, serve about 800 meals each Wednesday. Some weeks it's chicken soup, others rice with meat and vegetables. So there's still charitable giving enough to feed some people, but you got to wonder how thin that's getting. Like they say, with lack of economic activity, there's not enough people making enough to support helping other people out. A study by the Human Rights Commission in the Zulia state found that 72% of food items were in short supply in October and November, even as prices soared by 305%. Yeah, because the whole idea is prices go up, more goods and services will come in to meet that demand at that price, but things are upside down and backwards because of the manipulated economy. Nearly 75% of homes surveyed reported that at least once over the previous 3 months. The adults and children were hungry and did not eat. Only 8% reporting eating protein every day. And that's the final comment from that. "75% are going at least one day without anyone in the household eating." So I guess that's the takeaway. A different way to word that stat. And not a lot of meat left, as they have pretty much stripped the countryside of any wild animals that they can get a hold of quickly. As we saw back in the early in the year when the wild burros were taken out, especially anything next to the big cities. Still haven't seen anything from the countryside. We still haven't. We were wanting to kind of get a picture or looking for articles of how are the country folk doing who pretty much live at what we would call a poverty level anyway. People who wouldn't know a collapse was happening because they're just living on a sustainment level anyway, but they're at the advantage because they make their own food and farm and stuff. But we haven't seen anything like that. It's all been focused around the cities where you'd expect the biggest impact to be. But how's the average Venezuelan country residents doing? We've seen plenty of pictures of the masses exiting the country. Are they stripping the countryside clean as they leave the country? All interesting questions that we don't really get answers to kind of determine, just continue to survey the situation and learn from it as best as possible, but stock up on the rice and beans, as Uncle Al said in his video yesterday. Get your buckets full. If nothing else, you may have a little bit to share with somebody else. Hey, Walter Davis to join us. Good morning, Walter. Barry Wood, good morning. And this is what happens when a bus driver turns president. It's what happens when you have true believers become president. Is probably the better example. And such as our current problem in America as well, the communist true believers are replacing the corporate opportunists and driving us down that same path. I can't catch all the comments. Let me skip forward a little bit. Tommy went to get coffee. Dad gave him a safety brief. Watch out for shark's teeth. Oh, good point, Walter. Yeah, everybody in Venezuela is a millionaire now, at least those that work. Too bad bread is $1 million a loaf, right? That's the problem with hyperinflation. Poison Stinger's with us. Good morning. Right, charity is going to be thin quick, but there's still make people and international organizations are probably there as well, operating uh, to bring in some supplies, but still, it's a crisis of pretty epic proportions. All right, Iron Witch. I'm sure that's happening too. There's probably favoritism within the groups of. It's just like the bread lines in East Germany. If you have a party card, you get the. You probably don't have to go to the front of the line. They deliver it to you. We saw cases back during the water shortages and food shortages in Caracas and other places in the city where the military officers were commandeering supply trucks and taking them to the people that had the way to pay them off. You know, it was at that level of corruption of people just getting what they needed, not worried about everybody else, even the public servants. Beer bellied travelers, hey, good morning. How are you? Looks like y'all are getting a little bit of rain or snow up that way. Tommy Boy returned with no issues from getting his coffee. Thanks for checking in, Tommy Boy. We didn't make sure you didn't go down. So where are we at? Get a refresh. Market should be open and rolling. Billy Bird Outdoors is with us. Good morning. How are you? Walter says he thinks that the government does sweeps to grab everything everywhere. They're allowing boats out but intercepting them on the way back, whether they're fishing or trading in Trinidad. Oh, right, Walter. Yeah, we've seen some of that. They've scooped up a couple of, is it Grundy, their neighbor, scooped up a couple of their vehicle boats. There's contention over oil exploration happening on the border waters that Venezuela is trying to claim, but they don't have the power to push Grundy out of the way. So they got ExxonMobil in there working on their behalf to finally claim some resources in their area. There's a lot of that going on. So the Dow opens up just basically flat, 10 points down, and bonds are slightly down. A foot of snow, ice storm, ready to go. You got a good day ahead of you. You had a long hike planned. No, gonna cut that one short today for the ice storm, right? Let's make it a snowshoe hike, right? Maybe make it a little bit shorter. So that's what I had on the radar. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff. It seems like it can't catch up. There was more protests in Paris this weekend as the Yellow Vests continued their deal. There were some links earlier on the Drudge in the weekend, but I think he may have removed them coming into Monday, unfortunately. Gun use surges in Europe where firearms are rare. They're finally getting it, maybe. It's going to be a necessity, especially with the path that Europe is taking. Yeah, I don't see anything from the Yellow Vest protests, but they were definitely out there if you look them up. Still sizable, still confrontational. Stories about the flu, It's spreading, but it's still not. There's still a lot of fear mongering behind it. It's really not that bad of a season, comparatively speaking. Stay healthy. What else? Anybody else got anything on the radar? It's only 60 degrees where you are, Tommy boy? Really? So everybody else is getting rain and everything, and you're living it up in 60 degrees in January, huh? There's kind of a picture of that storm over most of y'all out there. Either hitting you with rain or snow, depending on where you're at. That snow line's coming right for you, Walter. Conservative Mexican did a live stream from yesterday from the border, Rooster, or from Mexico. Did he go down there again? I know he's been doing a lot of talk about the border wall lately, but I didn't see what he did this weekend. Yeah, okay. That's just more work for you, Walter, right? The snow comes in, you just get some work in. UP is getting dumped on. Poison just getting by right now. Starting to get ahead, so that's good. I guess you're talking about financially, right? And Iron mentions the left wants to figure out how to hijack the yellow vest when it comes to America. And there was an article about that, about how the movement wasn't spreading because of the nature of the um, difference in what they're protesting versus what's going on over here. Because the yellow vests are really protesting against, against migration, against immigration into their countries. They're protesting against overarching government, the centralized EU, uh, dictating what everybody does. It's all the things the left loves. The left's going to have a hard time co-opting that message if it does come to America, because that's pretty much, I guess you could say the right, everybody on the right in America, but there's some nuance in it, but it definitely doesn't fit the leftist agenda. It's pretty much stark contrast to them and is opposed to their beliefs. So they're not going to be wearing any yellow vests anytime soon. I have seen anecdotal evidence that a few of the recent Second Amendment protests, there have been some people wearing yellow vests, like in a solidarity move with Europe. I found that interesting because while the people in France and those countries and Netherlands and everything are definitely against their big governments, they still want those big social programs. They're not really going that far, but there is some similarities. But it would be, if you set people down with each other, philosophically they would disagree on many things, even the Second Amendment. But it's interesting that some of these Second Amendment rallies have had people wearing yellow vests just as a sign of solidarity type move. Iron Witch, the first sunny day you had in weeks, huh? You must be out there in the south, because I know that's what everybody was reporting on the on the other social media sites, sun was finally coming out. Tommy Boy, did they cut Mule's foot? I don't know. Were they? I don't think. I think he avoided that. I don't think that. I mean, that was a concern. I think, but I don't think they had to do that. I think he's okay. Oh, Poison Stinger says he's okay so far. Okay, yeah, still both, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Stinger's on it. Yeah, there you go, Iron. Exactly. Texas had a few yellow vests last week. I think they had one here in Carson, and I think there may have been a couple there at that. Santilli is doing red vest to protect POTUS, says Tommy Boy. He's doing a red vest protest. Walter says he's surprised the Mexican are not protesting wearing bandoleros and rifles. Yeah, I'm not sure that would. They're ready to take that step, Walter. The average Joe in Mexico is stuck between their government and the cartels, and sometimes they can't tell the difference between the two. So they don't have much opportunity to take that angle. Right, Poison. There's still a chance. Okay, he's not out of the woods yet. Right. It looks like we got another round of rain coming for us, Rooster, off the coast there. It looks like a lot of it's going to be north, though, but still might get smacked a little bit next week or later in the week. Right, Walter? Did you see any news reports on that? I saw one YouTube channel I follow covered the Pittsburgh situation protest, the will not comply protest, but I didn't look any more into it. What was the Pennsylvania passed a what was the most recent infringements they passed? Was it the sales restrictions or the ownership of long guns under 21 or something like that? Several states have made that move lately. But yeah, I'd seen a little bit of that at Walter, but it'd be good to see a little more firsthand accounting, you know? Let me see if I can. I wonder if I didn't look for that keyword in here. Protest, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, etc. And I don't see anything directly on here on any of these links, but I did see that on one of the YouTube channels earlier in the weekend talking about that. Pittsburgh passed a local ordinance, says Walter. Okay, so it wasn't a statewide thing. It was just in Pittsburgh, the city of, pretty much. Who was it I saw did that video? I saw the headline. I was like, that figures, and kept scrolling on by. It did stick out. I can't remember who it was. Was it Digger? Did Digger do one maybe? Digger Outdoors? He's out that way. That would make sense. It may have been Digger because that would make sense. Let me scroll on down here and search the YouTubes. Looks like he went hiking this weekend. Lots of too good videos out there. Angry Canuck did a VR to Dad on YouTube. On and on and on here. Oh yeah, I see conservative Mexican did a short video on the border of Mexico at a rally. Yeah, going to the Mexican border, did an hour there. Well, who did that? Far too many videos to scroll through. That's my personal problem. I've been trying to catch up on my prepping stuff. I've been negligent in a lot of the other videos. Hey, Farkas, good morning. How are you doing? Batten down the hatches. You're fixing to get some weather here in the next day or so. You're ready, I'm sure. Weekend update drive. Anyway, they did have that protest out there, but that's interesting that it was Pittsburgh specific. I thought it was more Pennsylvania. But that goes along with so many things. Was it an open carry issue? They restricted open carry or something? You said it was an open carry rally. Yeah, I can't find it. I failed. But it starts at 12 today. The ordinance does start at 12 today, Walter? Black Cat Outdoors. There you go, Walter. That's who I saw, but I didn't see the video, and I scrolled through everything. That's right. Black Cat was out there too. Yeah, he was doing some discussion about it. That's right. Black Cat. I just didn't check too much further into it. All talk and no action. Oh, and Poison just getting tired of a whole lot of talk and no action. You talking about your wall, Poison? You want that wall? Let's see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. How big was that rally in Pittsburgh? Do you know, Walter? There it is. But a big one in Harrisburg again. So Black Cat streamed yesterday. Yeah, it really threw me off. He's got a picture of the Kool-Aid Man. That doesn't help me. Pittsburgh rally update number 2 from yesterday. He did a stream. Oh, see. Oh, okay. The rally is today. So they're asking people to go to the rally today. I'll put this up as we close down the stream here. I'll put this in the links below. But rallying at the mayor's office on Grant Street in Pittsburgh, 12 o'clock on Monday, January 7th. So that's like in 2 hours. So if you didn't make plans to go, it's probably going to be hard. But maybe look for some live streams or something coming out of that. Sounds like he's probably going. So, and that's right before the weather hits, right?
A little bit better light there, maybe.
The weather's rolling through there a little bit. So
probably be the last update before the rally. I don't know if I'll get one out tomorrow. I'm going to try. So far, it's still going good. We have, looks like a pretty good turnout coming for Monday here. So anybody that's seeing this for the first time or doesn't know about it, this is the rally in Pittsburgh to fight against illegal laws. What's up, Midnight? An ear? What is with an ear? My audio not working? Somebody out there tell me if my audio is messed up. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, okay. Listening. Got ya. Okay. So this is the latest information I have after talking to one of the people organizing this today. So we'll put the info out there. Thanks, Vanessa. The rally is being held Monday, January 7th, which is this coming Monday. It starts at noon in front of the mayor's office, in front of the building there. Yeah. The same to you, sweetheart. All right, so it starts in front of the mayor's office at noon. I'm meeting up with a bunch of people at the First Avenue parking garage at 11 o'clock, and then we're marching down from there about a half a mile to the actual rally. There's some other places to park down there. There's the arena, and I guess the parking structure has an overflow lot that may be open for people for the rally. Get there. Parking could be an issue. It looks like this is getting fairly large. There's people coming from all over. Should be several hundred people there for this. So, as I said before, everybody, there are permits, and they are talking about possibly even blocking off Grant Street, which is the street that the mayor's office is located on. Well, kind of goes between two streets, but that's the main street there. So the mayor's office, if you don't know, is at 414 Grant Street in downtown Pittsburgh. That's where the rally is being held. Parking at the First Avenue garage, I believe, is $12 or something like that. No, you can carry during the state of emergency. How do I want to say that? If you have a permit, basically, all the state of emergency is doing is making it difficult for people that do not have a carry permit. So if you have a carry permit that PA recognizes from our state or from any other state that they recognize, you're legal to carry open, concealed, however you want. The only thing the state of emergency does is for people open carrying that do not have a permit in PA. So it's been an ongoing issue in this state since the governor keeps reinstating our state of emergency every time it goes out for his own reasons. It's kind of being misused, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. So it's written into the law the way that it is. I think that's something that we're going to have to address and try and get the laws changed a little bit for that. It might be an issue that we'll be talking about when we do a Harrisburg rally this year. So, any other info? I'm trying to think. I've gotten word from the organizer. Yes. I've gotten word the organizers, there is going to be a police presence here. Sounds like a fairly decent one. They seem to be, I haven't heard anything on a date yet, midnight. I'll make sure that will be posted up as soon as I know a date. The Harrisburg rally. It looks like there'll be a pretty decent police presence here. The police seem to generally be on our side. They seem to support the Second Amendment and are very supportive of us, and have stated they want to support everybody's right to free speech. They're mainly there just for traffic control, and if there's any kind of counter protesters that get out of hand. There is going to be a large police presence there, though, for anybody that gets sketched out by that. They're not there really to do anything to us. They're there. Yeah, exactly. The opioid crisis, so they can use the allocated money. Yes, that's. I've been told that the Pennsylvania chapters of the Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters will be at the rally, providing internal security for us in case somebody kind of tries to get in with our group to cause problems. They'll be on hand. So if you're at the rally and you see them, they should have on. I think they're going to wear like yellow beanies, and they won't be visibly open carry. But that's kind of the rally security is being put on by those guys. Yep, that's who's going to be providing security for our side in the rally, basically internally. They'll be on hand, and the police are going to have SWAT on hand, also providing overwatch. So if you see people on top of buildings, there probably are going to be snipers on top of building tops at this. That's already been said. So they're going to be doing an overwatch of the entire area. Anything else I need to update on? I think the other videos have all the other information in it. It's 414 Grant Street. The rally starts at noon. You will probably want to get to downtown by about 11 o'clock in order to make it to the rally point by the time it starts. You're more than welcome to come anytime that you want, but if you want to be there from the get-go, that's probably the best time to get there. I'm meeting some people at 10:30 and trying to get down there at 11. Yeah. So I'm going to try and be in downtown by 11 o'clock and on our way to the march there with a group of people. Oh, yeah, you'd be fine if that's the case. Anything else I need to update? Like I said, there's parking lot. There's 2 or 3 parking structures there, and there might be parking at the arena downtown also. I think that might be a thing. So we shall see. But go ahead and look, Google map it. It's easy to do. Where the building is, it's 414 Grant Street, and take a look around, and you'll find some parking. Find places to park in the area. Like I said, I'm planning on parking at the First Avenue garage. There is a thing that says there's something on the Facebook page about the credit card machines are going to be down. I'll get to that in a second here, Phil. Good point. The credit card machines are going to be down at most of the parking garages from 8 to 11, which I believe you pay when you leave those structures. So I don't think it'll affect us, but you might want to throw some cash in your pocket just to be on the safe side. I believe most places are between $12 and $20 to park downtown if you're in one of the garages. So I'd throw a 20 in my pocket just to be safe if you're somebody that doesn't normally carry cash on you. Phil Rivers wants to know about counter protesters. There's been some inklings of counter protesters. I have not seen any Facebook pages or anything. Nobody's shared any info that there is a large counter protest being scheduled. With that said, a lot of liberal media has been covering this, and I would be surprised if there weren't counter protesters there. But it doesn't look like there's any kind of organized Antifa thing coming to counter protest this in any way that I can see. The organizers don't seem to have any inkling that there's some huge organized counter march or rally or anything either. That said, there could be. I don't know. It could be something on boards that we're not on, or But the local news is saying a lot of stuff that isn't true too. But I'm sure there will be counter protesters. I don't know how big they're going to be, how big of a presence they're going to have. It's best, in my opinion, just don't engage the counter protesters. If they're that vehemently anti-gun that they're going to counter protest this rally, against illegal ordinances, then there's no reason to even engage with those people. It's not worth getting in a shouting match and giving an optic of one of us holding a rifle screaming at Antifa people or something. It's just walk by them. Don't let them bother you. I seriously doubt they're going to try anything really, really stupid. You never know, but I'm sure the city reps are scared. There's been an update on the building too. I know my last video or the video before that I put out that they had marked the building as a gun-free zone and put signs up saying no carry in the mayor's office. They were claiming it is a court facility, but by PA law, they have to have a way to secure your firearms. So that has been updated, and there's new signages at the doors reflecting that they do have lockers. So if anybody has to go in the building for any reason, you will have to check your firearm in. It's a law for court facilities in the state. Everybody has to check their firearm in, but they are providing lockers and check-ins for firearms if anybody has to go in. As far as I know, there is zero plans for any of us to go into the building. But if people do want to go in, then you're going to have to check a firearm in the at the entrance, I believe. They said that that's been updated as of today or yesterday. I'm not sure. I guess I'm not local to Pittsburgh. I'm about 3.5 hours away, but this is the info I'm getting through the organizers of the event. Oh, if there's any questions out there, feel free to ask. And if it's anything I don't know, I can find out and either email you or put up another video. But for right now, this is pretty much everything I know about it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to try and live stream as much of it as I can. I may have to help hand out some literature or something like that. I don't know yet. I just touched on that midnight. But yeah, I'm going to try and live stream as much as I can. I'm going to get my camera equipment and stuff around here and see what I can do. It may be difficult. Depends on how much literature I have to. If I have to hand out literatures and stuff, then I'm going to do that and maybe just wear my camera rig on my body. So we'll see. There's a McDonald's right near there. Rich White knows the area way better than I do. I can count on one hand the number of times I've been that part of downtown. I am not part of the 3 percenters. Nope. I'm not an official member of that organization. I've met quite a few of them. They usually make an appearance at the Harrisburg rally also. So I've met and known quite a few of them, but I'm not an official member of them. Like I said, the PA 3 percenters and the Oath Keepers are who are going to be providing our internal security for the rally. So if you have an issue, find those guys wearing the yellow. They're supposed to be wearing yellow beanies from what I was told. So you can find one of those. Yep, they're doing the security work for it, Phil. So they're planning on being there. And like I said, they should have the yellow beanies on. So if you see something going funky in the middle of our rally or see an issue that needs addressed by security, those would be the people you want to talk to. What I've said, if for some reason shit were to really hit the fan and you see those guys moving, move, get with them, follow them. Supposedly they have some stuff staged up if there's problems, if there's medical emergencies, things like that. Those are going to be the people to look for. The security people we have there. Anything else? I think I covered most of it. If you want to know about the laws regarding carry, like we started at the beginning of this, we are under a state of emergency, which changes some stuff as far as open carry without a permit. Now, if you have a permit from your state or a PA permit, you should be fine. Most states that have permits reciprocate with PA other than a lot of the ones kind of real close. New York and Maryland, but I doubt there's too many New York and Maryland people with an actual permit from that state coming. I know Rob D is coming with me and he has a New York permit, but he also has a non-resident Pennsylvania permit. So, Connecticut doesn't reciprocate with anybody, I don't think. I think Connecticut is one of them. So, but I know if you're coming from closer to Pittsburgh, well, that's up to you. There's going to be tons of people there. There's going to be plenty of people carrying rifles, handguns, shotguns, the whole 9 yards. It's going to be several hundred people there. So, I'm not going about to hash out the open carry, concealed carry, whatever. As far as not carrying at all, I don't go anywhere without carrying. So I carry everywhere that's legal and prudent to do so. I don't care about people's feelings on it, so, unless it's illegal for me to be there. So I'm sitting around my house. I'm carrying right now. Here you are. You can do whatever you want. Chamber flags if you want. They asked if you would not. You can have mags and rifles, but not chambered rifles. But they're not going to check on anything like that. They're asking for rifles slung instead, not holding in the low ready. So if you don't have a sling, run to Walmart and buy a sling. Seriously, it's not that tough. Buy a cheap 2-point sling. Oh, I have a couple of them laying around. I'm going to use one of them and throw it on your rifle. So, well, you can have chambered rounds. They're asking people not to for accident reasons, just to have loaded mags. But I doubt that that's going to, in rifles, we're talking. Handguns is the same. I'm not going to not have a chambered round on my handgun. That's dumb. My handguns are going to remain holstered, obviously. If you see somebody waving a handgun around that's unholstered, would probably be a good time to check with security. That's not somebody we want to be hanging around for too long if they're drawing their weapon and playing with it and waving it around. So, but yeah, slings would be great. Sling rifles, please. If you're going to carry rifles, that's what I'm going to do. I'll have my rifle slung on my back. That's generally, I don't see any reason to be walking around at low ready or anything like that. So I keep getting emails while this is going on. Bang, bang, bang. So that's about all the info I have. There you go. So an empty chamber and a carry gun, it is dumb. I never understood empty chamber and carry guns, but that's me. I know there's guys that do it. So if I'm carrying, there's one in the chamber. In fact, I'm carrying a revolver right now. So unless I'm going to download and have it sitting on an empty chamber, it's going to be on a chambered round. I won't be carrying a revolver to the rally. All right, I'll repeat the time. The rally starts at noon, Walter. 12 o'clock at 414 Grant Street in downtown Pittsburgh. I'm arriving at 11. I would suggest you should be at least there by 11:30 and wherever you're going to park, because most of the parking structures are around a half mile away. So you're going to have to walk a little bit to get there. So if you want to be there, no, it's on Monday, Walter. Monday, January 7th at noon is when the rally starts. So if you want to get there with plenty of time, I'd say show up in town no later than 11:30. I'm planning on being in downtown by 11. That's my plan. I have to meet up with a couple other people on the way, so I'll probably meet Rob D sometime early in the morning, and Mr. Jixer and anybody else that's coming with those guys. So. Well, that's also when the mayors and everybody is there to work too. So, unfortunately, the most effective time to hold most rallies is during the week, and that's when most people work. I'm under the same thing. I took vacation time in order to go to this, so it's just the way it's going to end up being. I do the same. A lot of times I do the Harrisburg rally in the spring. I just take a loss on pay for that day. I'm in a position that I can do that. So most of the time I'm in a position that I can do that. I couldn't do that right now. So I ended up using vacation time to go to this. But I was already after this whole thing kicked off, I was pretty much under the resolve I'd do it without pay if I had to. But I got it going. Exactly. Yep. I don't get sick days, but I get vacation time. So I'll burn through a vacation day to do this. Pittsburgh is 5.5 hours out. It's about 3.5 hours out for me. It's probably going to be close to 6 hours for Rob D. He's coming from up in New York. So he's going to have a heck of a ride for it. I know Squibb's coming from Michigan. That's going to be quite a hike for him, too. That's going to be, I didn't ask him specifically, probably a good 6 hour ride, 7-hour ride for him. Just my guess. It's always possible to get a hotel room, too, if you're going to take the day off of work anyway. I mean, that's an extra cost, of course. But, you know, if you get together with a group of people that want to come out and split a hotel room, that's always an option, and you can save. I mean, we've had guys do that for Harrisburg Rally before. Depends on where in Michigan. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know, Rich White, if I was coming closer to you, I'd pick you up, but I'm already going to be pressed for time that day. I would swing down and get you. I said the closest I can get to you is Hollidaysburg, probably. Some place in that area. If you can get up there, yeah. In Arizona, 5 hours to Ann Arbor. Yeah, I'm not sure where he lives in Michigan exactly. I just never really asked him. So, I don't know if anybody's coming from the Harrisburg area or not, Mulder. Where are you at? Anyone heading from Harrisburg? I'll tell you a good place to ask that, and I'll probably put a link down on the page below, would be the Pennsylvania Firearm Owners Association, PAFOA.org, to go on to their forum pages. And I know there's people coming from all over the state. So if you went on the forum pages and said, hey, I'm in Harrisburg, anybody coming from the area I could grab a ride with, you could do that. Coda Boy 32, thank you for showing up, bud. I was going to send you an email actually and ask I don't know if you've done anything. I know you had videos out on this before, but you'd be willing to put out a little, even if it's not a video, but just an update, that would help out. Because I know people watch you, way more people watch you than me, but I'm trying to get the word out on this. Awesome. Well, I will get the hell off of here. Absolutely. But as soon as you post that, I'll link that I'll throw up links to that different places on the internet too. So. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Coda Boy. So I wish you could make it. Should be interesting. Yeah, I think I might have. Oh, but yeah, anybody, if you're looking for a ride from someplace, it's PAFOA.org. You can check out on there. And like I said, I'll link the page down below this video when it renders and I do the description with links to that website. Yep, I absolutely will be in Harrisburg. I never miss it, buddy. So we'll have to get together this year when we're down there. I know we were both kind of simultaneously live streaming it from opposite sides last year. So yeah, there you go, Slim. Let's even get over by me. You can always try and ride along with me. I can shoehorn as many people as I need to in the Subaru. I know Jixer's taking his excursion. Midnight, if you were coming, that'd be great. Kingpin has to work. That sucks. I don't know anybody else coming from West Virginia. I'm sure there are. Well, I was saving that for midnight. If he wanted to come, I was going to strap him on the roof rack. But I didn't want to have to smell waffles and gravy the whole way to Pittsburgh. But I don't think he can make it. So I guess, the roof rack is still available. You throw you in Jixer's excursion. Yep. I understand that. Like I said, I had to rip off some vacation time for this. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. This is already longer than what I kind of wanted to keep it, but Hopefully people interested in the rally will do it. Coda Boy, I know you know a lot of the people organizing this probably too, but if you need any info, feel free to email me. Black Cat Outdoors 19 Black Cat Outdoors, sorry, RL Sear at SUEHR 1978 at gmail.com. Do I clean my guns every time I go shooting? Depends on the guns. Some guns I absolutely